Now we want to understand how we go from here where we stand today, how we are saving, towards the amount that we actually need to save in order to reach our goals. In order to do that, we want to look at our monthly cash flow. So in this example, we have 47,000 kroner of income coming in. And then 33,000 kroners of it is going out as fixed essential expenses. That means 70% of my income is going into fixed essential expenses. That leaves me with about 30% margin, right? And then within that margin, 10% of it is going to additional expenses, variable expenses. 7% of it is being saved right now, and 12% of it is unaccounted for, and I did not calculate. In the numbers that I put here, they are not accounted for. They are not anywhere. So the idea is that this is my reality right now. How do I go from this to a state that actually makes me reach my goal? In order to do that, you want to play around. You want to understand these different percentages. So to give you an example, this is what I want you to do with your sheets. You have your margin, and then you have variable expenses and save and invest. So we are going to assume that your unknown expenses is going to be at 0%, meaning that you're going to account for everything, which is fine. This was just like some error in the numbers that you put, which is fine. From now on, this unknown expenses is going to be 0. So now everything you need to do is to decide what percentage of your income do you want to put towards variable expenses, and what percentage of it do you want to put towards your saving and investing. Because your fixed essential expenses is most probably not decreasable. Maybe it is. If it is, think about that as well. Maybe you can decrease your fixed essential expenses. For example, if you have an apartment that is too expensive in terms of rent or mortgage, then maybe one idea is to kind of downgrade to a thing that is like less expensive, so you can decrease your fixed essential expenses. But for now, we are going to assume that your fixed essential expenses are fixed. You cannot change them. So you have two levers. One is to think about your variable expenses. The other one to think about your saving and investing. So in this scenario, assume that you are already almost like spending 10% of your income on variable expenses. So if you can, for example, decrease that 10% to 5%, so I want you to play around with these two percentages. If it's 5%, then it means you have 24.79% left. So if I put down 24.79% of my income into saving and investing, then I am now saving 11,000 kroners per month. Still, this is far away from the 20,400 that I need to save in order to reach my goal. But I'm now much, much closer to actually reaching that. In order to see that, look at the graph below. You saw the gray line. The gray line showed you what happens if you continue on your current trajectory. Now the yellow line shows you what happens if you start doing this. If you make this change in your life, if instead of spending 10%, you spend 5%, and then you account for all these unknown expenses as you put all of it towards investing, so 24.7% into investing. If you do that, 11,000 kroner per month, if you do that, then by the time you are 65 years old, you are going to have 17 million kroners built up. That means you are even above your retirement goal at 65. But in my particular scenario, I wanted to retire at 55. Am I able to do that? No. The point that I kind of get past the retirement goal is 61 years old. If I invest 11,600 kroner per month. I know that in order to be able to retire at 55, I need to have this number at my savings goal and investing. But this is your whole game now. So the whole idea of this sheet right now is for you to start playing around with these percentages. How much of them can you decrease and increase? And What does it tell you? So essentially what you need to get out of this is, if your income and current margin does not allow you to go than a higher number. So imagine in this scenario, if hypothetically I say, I'm not going to spend anything on top of my fixed expenses, which is almost not possible, right? You want to have some fun, you want to have like some stuff, you want to have some level of lifestyle. But imagine I did that and I said, okay, I'm going to put everything towards my saving and investing. 14,000 kroners per month. In the graph below, I would still not reach my retirement goal as I set it myself. I'm not going to be able to retire at 55. At the earliest, I'm going to be able to retire at 59. So what does that tell you? That tells you, based on your current finances, based on your current numbers and cash flow, the goal that you have set is too aggressive. You cannot afford that goal. So then that gives you two options. Either you adjust your goal. So I would actually come over and say, okay, it seems like that with my current trajectory, it's not possible for me to retire at 55. But I may be okay with retiring at 60. Now I set my goal to 25 years for retirement. Now I go back here, and now I'm actually ahead of my goal. So now at 59 years old, I can actually reach my retirement. So if you do your numbers, if you like adjust your calculations here and realize, okay, there is no way I can do 0% variable expense. That's not gonna happen. I need at least 15% of variable expenses, right? And then that leaves me with 14.79. That means 7,000 kroner per. If this is your scenario, for example, it means that your goal is way too aggressive. You are not able to reach your goal with the current state of the finances that you have. So now you need to seriously think about, remember the levers in the margin that we talked about. So everything is within your margin, right? So you either need to decrease your expenses. In this scenario, even think about your fixed essential expenses. So if you are way off in these calculations and you cannot reach your goal in any possible way, then it might be that you are spending too much on your fixed expenses. If you have an income of 47,000 kroner and I don't know, you are paying 25,000 kroner for rent, that means it's too much, and that's not going to enable you to reach your goal. So you need to start decreasing your expenses. Or think about increasing your income. But in this particular scenario, 47,000 kroner of net income is actually really, really high. It's the top 10% of Sweden. So the opportunities of increasing this meaningfully is not that much. So it tells me immediately that, okay, I need to actually decrease my expenses. So this is the whole thing that you need to do within this sheet. Play around with your goals, put different goals with different time horizons, come back to this sheet, look at the numbers. Play around with these two percentages. How much of your money do you want to put into your variable expenses, lifestyle, things that you have fun with? How much of it do you want to put towards your saving and investing? And by doing that, how far along would you be on your path to reach the goals that you have set for yourself? Now you have a very clear view on how you can do that. One additional thing that I want to add here is this also gives you a really good idea, a really good framework to decide on large purchases in your life. So imagine in this scenario, I am on this, I start changing my monthly cash flow. I'm putting 9,000 kroner per month towards my saving and investing. I'm investing in like an index fund. And then I'm on this path. So I'm 35 now. So in like 7 years, like 42, let's say, right? I've already built up around 1 million kroner. At this point in time, I decide that I want to upgrade my apartment. I want a bigger apartment, or I want an apartment, I don't know, closer to the city, whatever, right? Now the question is, if I want to pull some of this money out and put it towards the down payment of a bigger apartment, let's say I need to pull 200,000 kroner out. What that means is that I'm essentially shifting this graph to the left, meaning that I'm resetting some of the progress that I've already made. So if I pull out 200,000 kroner of this, it means I have 800,000. So this was shifted about maybe a year or so in this scenario. So that means I'm going to be able to retire at least a year later, or maybe even 2, depending on the amount. So now the decision is, do I care more about a bigger apartment, or do I care more about being able to work 1 year or 2 years less? Do I rather to retire earlier, or do I rather to have a better lifestyle and a better apartment? And that goes with every large decision that you want to make. So if you want to buy a car that is like 800,000 kroner for whatever reason, and you decide to do that in cash, then that's the question. That's like, that comparison becomes very, very, very easy for you to reason about. Like, if I spend this much, I'm going to delay my retirement by this much, or I'm going to delay this other goal that I have by this much. Now it's a balancing act for you. You can say, okay, this is very more important for me, or this one is more important for me. So now you have a framework to reason around your decisions. So please do play around with these sheets. Like, start moving all of your goals, set different goals with different time frames, set different retirement ages, different amount of money after retirement. Play around with it until you reach something that makes sense for you. And then come to this sheet and look at where you are and where you need to be with regards to those goals. And then look at your current cash flow on a monthly basis and try to adjust that in a way that will enable you to reach your goals. Keep in mind, all the calculations here, they are not exactly how things are going to happen. Things are going to be different. So the idea of this sheet is not to give you exact numbers of this is exactly when you're going to reach this or that. The idea is that directionally you can now see, are you on the path to even reach the goals that you want for yourself or not? So it doesn't really matter if this number is 9,000 or 10,000. It's here to kind of incentivize you, to encourage you to think about, if I'm saving 3,000 kroner per month, that's not going to get me anywhere. I need to get much, much closer to this number. I might not be able to get exactly to that number today, and that's fine, but at least I have an idea of where I stand and where I need to be. Now, if I want to say that I need to make more money, now I exactly know why I need to make more money. I need to make more money because I want to add another 3,000 kroner on top of what I'm currently saving and investing in order to reach this goal. Now I have a clear why behind why I need to make more money. All right, so that is it for this sheet. At the next step, we are gonna talk about your golden path. So I'm gonna give you the time, so pause this or like finish this session and then start playing around with these numbers. So start adjusting your percentages, and once you get to something that makes sense for you and seems realistic for you, then move on to the next video, which is gonna be showing you exactly based on the numbers that you have inputted here, what your golden path would look like. So at the next step, we are gonna give you exactly the step-by-step. So if you start this month, today, what would you need to do on a monthly basis? So in this scenario, we are saying what we just said. You need to save 9,300 kroner for 4 months to build your cash buffer. So we are going to give you the step-by-step guide into the golden path. So play around with the numbers, reach a number that makes sense for you, and then go to the next video to kind of see what you need to start doing starting next month.